Hello everyone. I'm Associate Professor Dr. Nesrin Bahcelerli. First of all, I would like to introduce my colleagues with whom I did research. Professor Dr. Fahriye Altinay, Professor Dr. Zehra Altinay, Professor Dr. Mehmet Altinay, and Professor Dr. Gökmen Dagli. And our research title is Evaluation of Multicultural Education During COVID-19 Practices and Challenges. Before to start my presentation, I want to give some details from content of my presentation. First of all, I will start with introduction and I will give this little, small summarized literature review. And aim of the research questions, methodology, findings, conclusions, and end of the presentation, I will mention some of the recommendations according to our research. One of the most important issues spoken in every field is multiculturalism. The main problem faced by almost all societies in the process, which started to be important in the middle of the 20th century and has reached the present day, is that the problem of linguistic identity and religious belonging of different ethnic origins, cultures, and groups is not limited to that country as in the past, but turns into a set of universal problems. Multiculturalism, in terms of its general characteristics, is a solution proposal that aims to make it possible for differences to live together despite the cultural, social, political wishes and foreigners as a result of international migration. As a result, multiculturalism is shaped on the principle that the state or country recognizes differences in a tolerance-based manner despite the cultural and belonging demands of foreigners and differences. Multiculturalism can be explained, sorry. Multiculturalism can be explained in different ways. If you look at this, some of this explanation, these are political program in which different cultures are expressed fairly in the public sphere. The research for a solution on how to ensure equality and justice among those who believe in national cultural, see their ethnic identity as a cultural resources and their religion as a cultural resources. The balance of the values of diversity and political attitude towards the complex situation in the globalizing world. And also multiculturalism is an alternative to assimilation, a political organization specific to communities with group constituents in democratic states. The view that diversity is adopted and accepted in society instead of standard ethnic and cultural elements and homogeneous social structure, ensuring the public visibility of different cultures, ethnicities, the identities, and minorities, and the last one, the coexistence of cultures equally and in peace. When you come to the definition of the multicultural education, which we can define as integrating the egalitarian and fair idea of multiculturalism policy into education system, was born against monocultural education. Considering the research on education today, it is seen that the research on multicultural education have increased. The search for a solution to the problem of expectation that cultural communities will display positive behaviors towards other cultural groups that have emerged in contemporary societies is one of the leading problems that lead to the emergence of multicultural education. While multicultural education reveals the similarities between cultures, it also allows the difference between cultures to be seen. What multicultural education mainly tries to convey is being tolerant towards other cultures, raising awareness about the different cultures, and allowing the student to see the universe in which they live through the eyes of different cultures. And banks state that the multicultural education aims to provide individuals with the knowledge and skills to see themselves through the eyes of other cultures, to know themselves better in this way, to respect different cultures, and how to behave towards different ethnic groups. When we come to the aims of the research aims to shed light on the practices, on the challenges related to multicultural education in COVID-19 process and make suggestions in this directions. For these purposes, our research questions are: what is the distribution of educational research on the multicultural education by country? What are the trends towards keywords in the abstracts of educational research on the multicultural education? What recent studies point out on multicultural education policies during the COVID-19? And what recent studies point out the challenge on multicultural education practices during COVID-19? When we come to our methodology and our research design for this research, systematic review of the literature was first conducted in the Web of Science database. Bibliometric analysis was then conducted using WOS-Viewer software. Data collection was first conducted in the Web of Science database using a combination of keywords with specifying specific periods from 2012 to 2021 years and document type research article. The word combinations are multicultural or multiculturalism and education. As a result, 41 research articles were included in this study in line with the analysis made. The bibliometric analysis was then conducted in the analysis of the data exported from the Web of Science. Within the scope of bibliometric analysis, the data exported from the Web of Science were analyzed using WOS-Viewer bibliometric analysis software, answered the research question. When we come to our findings, if you remember our first research question, what is the distribution of educational research on the multicultural education by country? The first table show us the before the COVID-19, sorry, based on this evaluation between 2012 and 2018, United States of America, England, Belgium, Australia, and Canada are top countries who conducted research about multicultural education. When we look at our second figure, it shows us during the COVID-19, South Korea, Canada, Africa, England, China, Australia, and Belgium become visible countries on the studies of multicultural education. When we come to our second research question is, what are the trends towards keywords in the abstracts of educational research on the multicultural education before the COVID-19? Language policy, diversity, multiculturalism, multicultural education, national identity are keywords that were examined in studies. When we look at our next figure, it shows us the during the COVID-19. And during the COVID-19, social justice, discrimination, multilingualism, educational policy, and curriculum are keywords to be considered during the COVID-19. Our third research question is, what recent studies point out on the multicultural education policies during the COVID-19? The prominent emphasis on multicultural education, multiculturalism, multilingualism, language policy, educational policy, curriculum, globalization, and discrimination. Our fourth research question, what recent studies point out challenges on multicultural education practices during COVID-19? In the studies included in the research, it was determined that there were basically 9 statements based on the evaluation of challenges in multicultural education. These statements and the number of their occurrence in the article are in the table. If you look at our tables, difficulties in learning language, our first challenge, and it has been as challenge 24 times. And prejudice is 14 times. Disadvantage, socio-economic background is 13 times. Teachers, Lack of knowledge in this direction, it has been a challenge 11 times. And also communication and deficiencies of education policies 11 times. Integration, it has been challenged as 9 times. Judgments that make quality education difficult 7 times. And xenophobia, it has been challenged 6 times. When we come to our conclusions, with the developments in the world, universal cultures rather than local cultures have begun to come to the fore. With the reflection of this process in education, the concept of multicultural education has gained importance. Each researcher has defined multicultural education by approaching it from a different perspective. The definition accepted by most research is it is a reform movement aimed at ensuring that all students benefit from education equally, regardless of race, gender, culture, language, religion, social class, and to create equal educational conditions for all students. In the understanding of multicultural education, there is a constructive system applied under equal conditions. It's seen that the most common concepts in the definitions of multicultural education are sensitivity to differences, equality of opportunity in education, and respect for human rights. And studies have revealed the need to include items from the different cultures in the curriculum and the need to make innovations in the curriculum in this area. However, it is stated that there are difficulties in establishing the necessary infrastructure in this direction. When you come to some of the recommendations, revising the curricula by considering multicultural education and creating policies in this direction. Organizing more social and cultural activities during school time so that parents, teachers, and students can learn about each other's cultures more effectively. Integration programs for foreign students should be prepared. Studies on multicultural teacher competences and teacher training programs and policies can be compared in future research. Thank you for your listening.